And welcome to the second and hopefully not last band shout. My name is Noah Fogelman, along with my good friends Dan Petru and Michael Vartan. Thank you everyone for watching the first episode, making it a success. Subscribe to all the channels, YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, we're all there. And as you can see on the bottom here, we're going to do a little game this week called Two Truths and a Lie. So in the comments, please chat what do you think our lie is. Michael Vartan is up there now, and we'll cycle through the rest of the guys. How you guys doing tonight?
Pretty good. Been actually under the weather a little bit, but you got to play through the injury, as they say.
I just want to point out that Michael is wearing my alma mater jersey, Quinnipiac University. I love that. I'm jealous you have that jersey and I don't. I have the yellow one. I do not have the blue. Love it.
Got to represent.
That's right. Love the Bobcats.
Yeah. All right, Dan. So what do we have tonight?
All right, so we're going to get into the NHL as we always do, since we're hockey-centric with a little splash of everything else. So we're going to start with the saga that never seems to end. Just because shovels are in the ground, just because a framework is up, just because the foundation has been laid, doesn't mean the Islanders will have a place to play next year. As they reported that Prokhorov, the owner, the Bond villain, if you will, the Russian owner of the Coliseum, or whatever the hell it's called now, says that they're shutting it down. So right now the Islanders have nowhere to play whenever they do resume play next season.
You know what? I still think they'll end up playing in the Coliseum. I think this is just, the coronavirus. The arena's shuttered right now because nothing's going on. Who knows when fans are going to be back there anyway. So they're going to be playing in an empty arena, whether it's in Brooklyn or Long Island, it could be Bridgeport. They could sneak in, whoever's playing that night with the bolt cutters and sneak in and play in the Coliseum. Sure. So, I mean, I think it'll get done. But Prokhorov, it's a bluff right now. We lost Dan right now. So, it's me and you now. Play a little
I actually thought about, during the coronavirus, breaking into my local ice rink to skate alone, but I thought it was a little too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Dan's 2-minute penalty is over now, so let's welcome him back. Okay, Dan.
I tried to click on live comments. Are your live comments coming up?
No, you got 2 minutes for diving, bro.
Yeah, I am definitely. I never dove, but there were times I didn't fake. I didn't force gravity, if you know what I mean. No, my live comments weren't loading up, and I pressed the wrong button. And next thing I know, I went away. I was like, "Oh shit!"
I'm not seeing the comments either right now, so hopefully those will come up. But
all right, good. All right, so no, figure it out. You're the brains of this operation, so we are screwed.
Thank God. Yes, we are screwed.
Yeah. So
what I miss.
So basically, breaking an injury, Vartan was going to sneak in and play in his home rink there.
I do think the Coliseum is a possibility, but I think we could have a situation come December, January, where they're playing in a designated city again for all of next year. The way things are going right now, I think that's a possibility with no fans.
Yeah. You know what? It'd be a Vegas roadshow. Who knows?
I mean, honestly, there's going to be no fans. They can play anywhere. They can play in Bridgeport. They can play in Hartford. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Although I don't know if the players want to live in Hartford.
Yeah, definitely. And, our comments are live now, so everyone comment, criticize us, make fun of my beard, make fun of Dan's glasses, whatever. We're here for you.
Nice beard.
Dan and I have the same glasses.
Yeah, we do. Those are the handsome glasses.
But yeah,
I actually went into the store and I said, "Give me the Vartans."
Oh, really?
I did, and that's what they gave me.
Were you at AM/PM? Were they on the rack there? Yeah,
they were. They were on clearance.
Nice.
Oh, that's rude.
And then you picked up the cassette tapes right next to it.
I did, yeah. And I got Alias on VHS.
Oh.
Better than Betamax, buddy.
I am so bad.
Yeah,
I should have drank before the show. That's the problem.
Yeah, but I do think this will get settled. But I mean, it never ends with this team, though. Like Belmont's on the horizon. There's a live cam where you can see the arena get built each day. They're talking about the roof being on top of it by the end of the year. Right. So good things are happening, but there's always something. Whether it's Ilya Sorokin, the Russian goalie, hopefully signing with this team, to the arena, and the arena thing's been going on for 25 years now. It's never going to end. Even when they're in Belmont, there's still going to be people saying that where's the team going? This team has.
My friend said to me, until we were sitting down on opening night and the team actually shows up, I'm not going to believe it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So forgive me for not being on par because I don't follow the Islanders on a daily basis.
Smart. It's good for your blood pressure.
So much going on right now during the virus lockdown. But what is the actual deal? Do they want to build a brand new stadium in Long Island, or do they just want to? What's the holdup?
They got to because they're right now building a stadium at Belmont Park, the race.
Yeah.
With the state land, because nothing else gets built on Nassau County under the Nassau County Watch. So they kind of did a little loop, a little end around, spearheaded by the governor Cuomo, and it's built. I mean, it's in the process of being built. So they're going to play
ready for not next season, the year after. It'll be ready.
Yeah. So the former owner of the Nets and who owned Barclays Center, Miguel Prokhorov.
Bond villain.
Yeah, he owned exactly. He looks like a Bond villain.
Goldfinger.
Yeah, exactly. He basically runs the Coliseum with help from the county, and they're losing money because that place is, whether they put a new paint job and they put a little tinfoil around it, it's still a dump.
It's still lipstick in a pig.
There's like 10 suites there, so that they can't make any money. It's 13, and with the new Belmont Arena, all the venue is going to go, all the events going to go to that, and you have the Garden, you have the ones in Jersey. So it's basically, an antiquated arena.
And it's crazy to think, like, Staples Center is 20 years old already. It's not
really. Wow.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that.
Yeah. First game was, I think, 2001. The All-Star game was 2002. 20 years old already. And in my mind, it's still a state-of-the-art kind of newish arena. You know what I mean?
It comes across that way on television that it's still new.
Well, we don't have a 4x4 in the corner, so that helps.
It's an SUV.
How do I talk to chat? Can I?
Yeah, click on the live comments.
I did.
Okay, now go to there should be a chat bar on the bottom there.
No, I don't have one.
Let's see. Do we have that?
Nope, I don't have one. So
we don't have
that. Sorry, I can't type to you. And Rob, shouting, that's us. That's us.
No. Rob wants to know what jersey you're wearing. He didn't see it. You're wearing a Quinnipiac University. There we go. Let it shine. Let that shine. It's beautiful.
Come on, Rob. I'm a Kings fan. I would never wear a Ducks jersey.
Oh, yeah, that's bad. That's really bad.
Although I do not hate the Ducks, I dislike them because, divisional rivals, obviously. The team I hate is the Sharks.
Really hate the Sharks.
I hate them so much. Not the players, obviously. They're all great guys. All the dudes in the NHL are great, but the Sharks, just that teal, everything about them. 2014, when we came back from 3-0 down in the playoffs to be the fourth team ever to come back from a 3-0 deficit, it was the greatest. It was almost like winning the cup. I didn't care what happened after that.
I feel like Vegas annoys you too.
I'm annoyed because they were delivered a Stanley Cup, final team in their first year, and that's just not the way expansion should go. But it's a new NHL, I guess.
I want to welcome my mother, Adrienne Edelstein. She's in the chat.
Yes.
And it's funny because I made that
love Adrienne.
for the first week and made those wonderful reviews, and I had the one about shaving my beard, and naturally after I posted that, she said, you really should shave your beard. So I gotta love my mom.
Like a homeless Santa.
There's some more hockey news going on.
I'm sorry, this is you with a shaved beard?
Well, the goatee, which is
Okay, all right.
Yeah, but there's more hockey news going on. The Islander drama now go a little bit up north to Western Europe. That is, Buffalo Sabres have a lot of issues, and they're cleaned out. And we're going to welcome our guest right now, Dan.
Yeah, let's see. There he is. Hey, Joe.
How we doing, guys? Good to be out. Good to be with you.
Thanks for stopping by. This seems to be an annual thing now, so.
At least a biannual occasion for the Sabres, just to up and chase everybody out of town, I guess. Yeah, it's man, but this is something I haven't seen this happen to a team since with the Leafs. They hired Shanahan and they cleaned house, but this is like a whole other level where everything just feels like it was done on a whim, And that to me, it says nothing but bad things about how it's worked out and the way this has played out. Because I mean, the details that are coming out from some of the deep insiders like Elliot Friedman and such, there, where it's, Bottrell had, verbal agreements with some coaches and some team staffers that were just, team said no, the owner said no, and now those guys are gone, and it's crazy. It's just, it's been a couple of days now, and I still can't really wrap my head around all of it.
Well, for those who might not know, Tuesday morning the Buffalo Sabres gutted their entire front office. General manager Jason Botterill, director of scouting Ryan Jankowski, almost the entire scouting staff. I guess they were pissed off at their AHL team too, because almost everybody in Rochester is gone. And senior VP Kevin Adams was named the new GM. So what does this mean for the Sabres offseason? I guess is the quick question. How do you go into a draft with no scouts, and then what do you do for free agency?
Well, this is going to put a lot of pressure on the scouts that are left behind. I think there's about five or so. And two of them are people that have been in the organization for a long time. One is Jerry Fortin, who handles their college scouting. And another one is Kevin Devine, who used to head up amateur scouting for him, but he's stayed on in a more reduced role with the team. But I think he's going to be asked to kind of guide anybody who's new into the organization on how the staff has already gone through and tried to do some scouting, and maybe they just want to move on from that completely. I mean, you don't clear out your head of amateur scouting, and you don't clear out your assistant to head of amateur scouting, and basically everybody on the staff that's been there for a few years, without just saying listen, we're starting over anew. We want some new opinions. We want some new ideas here. And to me, that blows me away, just because you're supposed to get 5 years to really kind of judge things. And these guys I think Bottrell got 3 drafts, and Jankowski and those guys, they had 2 drafts to work on. So it's incredible, the scope of all of this.
Right. And the Pegulas gave Botterill the dreaded vote of confidence earlier, this I guess 6 weeks ago. And, Jack Eichel voiced his, concerns over social media. Was this basically a result of that social media eruption?
A lot of people have said, have kind of brought that up. And I think that's just a holdover from what happened when they fired Dan Bilesma a few years back, because Jack got kind of singled out as being the guy who kind of pushed for that, because there was a story from Paul Hamilton that had come out, and the last paragraph of that story said, "Oh, by the way, Jack Eichel said he wouldn't sign an extension with the Sabres unless the coach was changed." And that kind of melted things down, and Bilesma was fired a few days later, along with Tim Murray. So I think a lot of that is just leftover memory from that happening before. I will say though, the way the players talked about everything at the end of season availabilities, they all went out of their way to really speak up for Ralph Kruger. And when Jack was asked pointedly about what happened this season, and he said, that's where he went on his rant saying, listen, I'm frustrated. How do you not get frustrated? And I think a lot of people took that to be very pointed criticisms at Jason Botterill, which he's earned it. I mean, he's earned those criticisms. I think that's fair. But I think the way this was all handled and the way it's all gone down is completely. It changed. It made Jason Botterill from being the villain, according to the fans, to being a very sympathetic figure, and that to me it blows me away.
Right, and now they're currently paying 3 general managers. They're still paying Tim Murray. It's till the end of the month, Botterill, and now Kevin Adams. Now, do you think basically the firing of Adams he's basically a yes man? He's the Pegula's puppet, so to speak?
Well, it kind of looks that way. I mean, he's a guy that they've brought up through the organization in various roles for the last 9 years. And I remember when he was brought in here early on to be one of the Academy of Hockey instructors here, and that's something where a lot of former players get involved with. And I mean, he's from the area. He's from Clarence, New York, which is one of the suburbs of Buffalo. But I mean that going from that role years ago to going up the ladder to where he was running Harbor Center, the building next door where it's the practice rinks, and it's where Canisius College plays hockey, and there's all sorts of stuff there. Where he went and took that role to being the VP of administration with the Sabres. That's a huge step up, and he's been asked to do a lot of PR even before this. towards the end of the regular season and things that they were working on with the team. And it gave the image that he was just kind of the friendly face, like it was like, hey, this guy played hockey, he's really, a super guy, and to try to explain things away. And I think it's probably a little bit unfair to just start throwing labels on him now, but it does. I mean, by appearances, it's really hard to stay. It's hard to steer away from that.
I guess the two-part question here in regards to Jack Eichel. I guess the first question would be, does the chaos of this organization, because right now we're bordering on, like, they feel like the Cleveland Browns right now. The chaos of this organization, is it hurting him? And what do they do with him moving forward? Because it almost seems like right now they're wasting great hockey from a guy who's arguably a top 5 player in the league.
Yeah, you can make the argument they've wasted about 5 years of his career at this point. This season was the one where I think everybody around, all fans around the league all took notice and said, all right, this is why they had this battle years ago when it was time to draft McDavid. And they said, well, if you don't get McDavid, you can get Eichel. And everybody was like, yeah, that's a great second prize that you can get in that draft. And he showed it this year, right, why he was worthy of that hype. What bothers me now is that you've spent 5 years trying to get it figured out. I mean, I look at this now. This is, Jack's on his third coach. He's on his soon-to-be third GM. Oof. And he's been in the league for 5 years. I mean, it's insane to me that this is the way it's played out. And it's if I'm a Sabres fan, I've probably been terrified for a year or two now that Jack is at some point going to say, I'm done, get me out of here. But I think now it's at the point where you could look at this and say, if they don't get this figured out in a couple of years, I don't think 1 year will do it, but I think if it's 2 years and they're still doing things like this, would anybody feel betrayed if he was like, listen, you got to get me out of here. This is it. I think Jack's already a super sympathetic figure as it is, because he's the guy who's carrying the team on his back, and they don't improve and they haven't gotten better. And now it's to a point where it's like a lot of fans are just like, get him out of here to save him. Just please get it, just try to get it so that he doesn't feel completely beat down by life. Because you mentioned the Cleveland Browns. It could have like a Detroit Lion effect with him where, you have guys like Calvin Johnson and Barry Sanders who just like quit the sport completely after having a full career of just losing and pathetic play around him, where he says, you know what, I don't need this anymore. Just get me out.
All right. So if you were running this team, and you might be by December, but if you were running this team, how would you get them back in the playoffs? How would you? What are the Sabres still missing for them to be considered a team that will be consistent in the playoffs each year?
Well, I think the one thing they've got going good for them right now is Ralph Kruger. If there's a thing I can pick on about Ralph Kruger, it's that his special teams have been bad. The power play struggled. The penalty kill was only not the worst in the league because Detroit was worse. And I don't think anybody wanted to be in the same boat as Detroit in anything this year. But Ralph fixed their defense. They were a much stingier team defensively. The goaltending, people pick on the goaltending. Linus Ullmark in 5-on-5 situations was a .930 goaltender. He was a top 5 goalie in the league.
Fantastic.
But they got killed on penalty kills, and that applied to him and Hutton. And that points me to Carter Hutton's a good goalie. He had a vision problem all season. Lance Lasowski at the news had this story. He had a vision problem all season that he didn't get addressed until afterwards, and the team didn't know about it or didn't fix it. Like, if your goalie can't see the puck, how is he supposed to stop it? I mean, Carter Hutton doesn't go from being like one of the better goalies to just suddenly can't stop anything. Like,
what was wrong with his eyes? Do they know?
I have to go back and read the story, but he had to have surgery for vision correction.
Wow, a goalie.
So I mean, it's different levels of just like, how did they miss this when it goes to it? But fixing them, get a second line center, get somebody who can play behind Jack. If they count on Dylan Cousins to jump in and do it next season, I mean, we saw what happened with Casey Middlestat when they threw him into the deep water after they traded O'Reilly. Like, that just didn't work, and I don't think you can do that to Cousins. I think Cousins is going to be a great player, but you can't rely on a 19-year-old to just go right in and be able to take over. So get that fixed. Figure out what to do with your cap situation. I know they got a ton of money coming off, but you got to get Sam Reinhart paid. And if you're not paying him, trade him right now. Like, if you're not going to pay him, you got to figure out what you're doing with Brandon Montour and Rasmus Ristolainen. These are two, Ristolainen they were supposed to trade 2 years ago, he's still there. And Kruger loves him, so I don't know how you trade him. I don't know how you trade him now.
He was better on the Kruger too.
He was
Better.
There were things that he did better. There were still some huge issues, but it's another guy they threw into the deep water as a kid, and with a terrible, like, that was the tank year team that they said, here, play 20 minutes a night on the one of the worst teams ever assembled in hockey in the last 15 years. And all those bad habits just kind of stuck with him. So, it's like mistakes compound mistakes, and then those mistakes become bigger mistakes down the road, and nothing has really gotten fixed with it. That's the whole thing with it. I mean, starting from new, I support it, but like all the scouts they fired are new since 2017. It's not their problem. Like they didn't do this. This is not them.
Right. And I guess we can go back to, Tim Murray, who made the ill-fated signing of Kyle Pozo, right? On the 2016, where that whole draft, that whole free agent class was a disaster around the league. Do you think they used the buyout?
They won't use a straight up buyout. I think if things get negotiated to a point where a compliance buyout is a possibility, then I think they would be forced to do something like that. Problem is, the entire room loves Kyle. The fans adore Kyle. He's one of the absolute nicest people in hockey, as far as I know. I say you guys on the island, for sure.
We know.
Yep. So, you do something like that, you're running afoul of people that love that guy, and it's just another thing. It's like, and that signing to me, it looks bad now, but like, look at the problems he's run into health wise, like the concussions. Like, you could make an argument he probably shouldn't even be playing now, considering how bad things were a couple seasons ago. And like when he drops the gloves with Tony DeAngelo last season, and I think everybody was like, "Oh Jesus, no, Kyle, don't do that, don't fight anybody." But I mean, it's. I think their hand would be forced to have to do a buyout if it's a compliance buyout. Straight up buyout, I mean, you can't have that money on the cap for 6 years,
right?
Like dead money. I mean, they're already gonna have a cap overage this season, or for next season as it is anyways, because of bonuses for Yoki Haru and Dahlin, and they've spent over the cap all year long. So they're already playing with the deck stacked against them going into next season. And I don't think you can do that any further by just buying a guy out. At that point, you have to either trade him or just dangle him and hope that Seattle grabs him in the expansion draft in a year. So, but those aren't the types of players that expansion teams pick from now. They don't want a $6 million a year guy.
Right, Joe, thanks for a few minutes today. We'll definitely catch up again when the Sabres fire the Lions.
I'd say we'll catch up again in a year or two when they fire Kruger, or they fire Kevin Adams, or they trade Jack Eichel or do something else insane where nobody can explain it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, thanks for your time, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for being here.
All right.
Wow, what a mess.
They really are.
Yeah.
Like I said, I think the Cleveland Browns are a fair analogy right now.
Yeah.
So from one mess to another. Let's talk a little baseball, guys.
Yeah.
Well,
every day.
Martin,
problems with Mets? Is that what you're getting at?
trash can. Where's your trash can?
Yeah.
Right here.
So pretty. Let's see it. There you go. A little more. There you go. That's perfect.
Want to bang?
It's not a trash can. It's a paper bin.
Oh,
sorry.
Have you thrown that up against the wall every time Edwin Diaz blew a save?
No, but I've thrown many other things up against the wall.
Right. Yeah. So basically, this week we've had Rob Manfred said it's unlikely there'll be a season, to Tuesday saying they're really close, that they agreed upon, I guess, 60 games for the season. The Players Association countered with 70. What's going on, guys?
Well, the players, didn't they get a prorated salary? So they're basically going to make kind of what they would have made anyway. No?
Yeah.
Is that not? Yeah. So I feel like the players kind of sided with what the public was feeling, right. And it sort of shifted the paradigm a little bit. And in the last 24 hours, I haven't really followed closely because, hockey and football and baseball, it's all in flux and a fluid situation. But something happened in the last 24 hours that has not sort of made it feel like baseball is actually going to come back for real. it's still very much in flux, correct?
Yeah, it is. And John, if you follow John Heyman on Twitter, first of all, don't. Every like 10 minutes, he's saying there will be a season, there won't be a season, there will be a season. It's like, dude, put the hooch down, okay? You don't need to tweet every 10 minutes. But it just seems like right now, it seems like the owners don't want to play. There are, I think 6 owners has been reported that they do not. They're upset with Manfred because he kind of met with Tony Clark and they thought they hammered something out yesterday. But the owners were like, we didn't agree to that proposal, and the players are like, we don't like the proposal. So it does seem like for once, when it comes to labor, that the public opinion is siding with the players, which never happens.
Never, because they make so much money.
Right.
Never happens.
It seems like they have been willing to compromise. Yeah. The owners are a disaster.
And it only takes 8 teams to say no play, and then it's over, right?
Right. And they got 6 right now.
They got 6 right now.
Yeah.
And it would make sense that the teams that benefit less from TV revenue would be more apt to say no. You know, the smaller market teams.
I'd like to see that list. I'd like to know who that is.
No, exactly, because they rely on gate attendance and merchandise.
Yeah.
I guess it just shows you how vulnerable they are, right? If they're saying we're going to lose so much money because we have no gate, the NHL teams are saying, all right, we'll play. The owners play, exactly. and they're not going to have any fans.
Right. And I guess part of the agreement was to expand the playoffs from, I guess, 10 teams now to 16, which should be interesting. And there was also talk about having sponsorships on the jerseys.
Right.
Which I know there's a Nike swoosh now, which, okay, that's fine. But to have massive, I don't know what kind of sponsorship you would have. I know NBA started doing that a couple of years ago. And it's fine. It's subtle. But were you going to have a big, like, Nokia like patch on the side, or
Nokia still?
I have a Kings practice jersey that has a giant McDonald's logo. You know, I mean, whatever. But
it doesn't bother us. We're soccer guys. We're used to it.
Yeah, exactly. And European hockey's the worst.
Oh my god, yeah, it's European jerseys.
Yes, right. Yeah. And then there's not one spot on their on their tracksuit that doesn't have a logo.
Right.
So it's eventually going to happen. I mean, for all the purists out there, baseball is not the way it was even 20 years ago.
Right.
How do we feel about Vartan, especially you, since you're the National League guy? How do you feel about the DH in your league?
I don't like it. I really don't, because that's always what sort of differentiated the AL from the NL. And but this is a extraordinary circumstance that we've never dealt with before. So maybe for 1 year, it's fine. But I don't like it. I like pitchers having to hit, because if they're going inside a lot on the opposing team, they're going to have their turn at bat and then have to face the music themselves. So, it's sort of old school versus new school, but long term, I don't want the DH in the National League. No way. I would hate that.
It's never going away now. There's no way.
Once it's here, it's just going to be here to stay.
Oh, God.
And you know what? I mean, I'm sorry, it's okay. You have guys second and third, 2 outs, right? And you have your pitcher up. I mean, why? It's automatic out for the 0.2% chance that he's going to do something.
But the double shift is strategic.
Exactly.
The double shift is strategic because I have a pitcher. Like I said to all National League fans, you guys hate it until Cespedes is your DH, or McNeil, or Don Smith, or Cano. The Mets have options. But you guys hate it until your DH goes 28 and 110. And then you're like, okay, this is okay.
I'm not a purist in a weird way. No. For all other sports I am, but for baseball, I kind of am. And I just saw in the chat, Rob said, Cologne home run historical. Yes, Bartolo hitting that home run in San Diego was one of the great moments in Mets history.
Absolutely. That shows you how little moments you have.
Wow. Is that where we're going? Okay. You froze again. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, look.
I did. See what happens when I talk to you about the Mets? I freeze. Yeah. SNY's watching.
If you told me 20 years ago that there'd be no red line in hockey, I'd be like, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. So, I mean, everything changes. Everything evolves. I personally, on a completely weird tangent, would like to see home whites come back when it comes to hockey. I'm done with the home, dark jerseys. But Yeah, no, it's this baseball season, if it happens or not, is going to be interesting. It's going to change a lot of things, and at some point there's going to be an expansion. There's going to be 32 teams. It'll make I think the playoff bracket the way it is right now a lot more sort of clean and simple. So we'll see. Right now, hockey is my main concern. If baseball doesn't come back, I don't really care, because Syndergaard's not going to play, so our rotation's depleted. I'm afraid for football. Anthony Fauci saying that football in the fall is not looking good in terms of the pandemic. So we'll see what happens. I mean, everything is in flux right now, so it's very strange times indeed.
Yeah, a lot of the athletes have been working out and getting the virus now. Billy Elliott was probably the biggest name. It's going to happen. I mean, you get many players in a confined quarter working out, doing whatever. It's going to happen. Mm-hmm. You're not going to end up playing flag football or two-hand touch. These guys are going to tackle each other when they do play. But if there's no football, I think that would be like the end of the world. I mean, baseball one thing, but football is the number one sport in America, and for them not to have a season, I think that would be a massive hit to this country.
I really don't think there's going to be college football. I think there's less of a chance of a college season than there is the NFL.
Right, which is fun because college, I mean, it's all over, and it's very hypocritical to say that you're going to play. You're not going to open your school for the safety of your students,
right? But you have college football
because you want the money, and that's all it is. It's just a company just generating money. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens because it's only 32 teams in football, where you have like 300 and X amount of teams in college football.
Yeah, how many colleges? Right.
Yeah. So,
Jason in chat, missed the whiteout home playoff games. I agree with you, brother. I do too. I really do.
All right, It's trivia time.
It's what?
It's trivia time.
Trivia time. All right, boys. Here we go.
Noel, go to private chat. Go to private chat. We cannot see the comments.
Hold on.
Okay, and Vartan is our host. Since Noel won last week, Vartan is hosting this week. We'll need a graphic to keep scores each week too. Noel, get on that.
Let's not do that because I'm going to be last every week. So
all right, I'll keep score in my mind.
Hold on. I won last week, right?
Okay.
Oh,
look at that.
Are you kidding me?
You get that at the dollar store?
Did you make that in arts and crafts? That's good.
Forward.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
That is fantastic.
Where did you get that?
eBay.
Oh.
Nice.
Seemed like a wise purchase at the time.
Exactly.
All right, boys. Today's trivia question is: you have to name you have to try and name players in the NHL who have scored at least 500 goals.
Okay, we can do that. Noel, you go first. Or me go first.
You want to do rock paper scissors?
I think the champion should go first.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm gonna, because I know Dan loves this player, so I'm gonna go with it first. Ron Francis.
Oh, fuck Ron Francis. Seriously, he's the Craig Biggio of hockey players. Compile. Seriously, I will give the person the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe you're having a bad day when I meet you. I met him on like 7 occasions. He was a dick each time. So
maybe you just had 7 bad days randomly.
I guess living in Hartford will do that to you.
Exactly.
All right, I'm gonna go on a limb. I'll take Wayne Gretzky.
Let me see.
And check. I don't know about that.
Of course. All right.
Okay. I might as well go with Mark Messier.
Yes, sir.
I will take Gordie Howe.
Yes, sir.
Dan really going on a limb on some of these guys.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Also, later.
No's trying to go obscure already.
No. I'm staying in my lane. I'll go obscure. Don't worry, Noel.
Don't worry. I'm going to go obscure too now, buddy boy.
Okay.
Patrick Beak.
Oh, I think that was one of my obscure ones.
Yeah, that's one of the guys I thought you might not, remember.
All right. I'll take your boy Mike Bossy.
Ooh, okay. I got to go probably my second favorite player of all time, Timo Solani.
That's right.
Yeah. He's your second favorite player? Wow. Why?
Yeah. I just loved him, just basically following his rookie season and putting up 76 goals that one year.
Yeah. And you remember everyone said Ovechkin was kind of the guy who broke the mold for you don't celebrate it. You remember that celebration when he scored that goal? That was insane.
I celebrate.
I love it.
Since you mentioned him, I'll take him. I'll take Ovechkin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. Because you helped Martin out last week.
That's right. Martin helped me out. That's right.
Yeah. Ovechkin was a really tough one.
Yeah, I really wanted a real limb there.
Going on a limb here. Okay, so I'm going to go with Martin's boy, Luke Robitaille.
All right.
Yes, sir.
I will go with Jaromir Jagr.
Yes, sir.
He's what, third now?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, he probably would have been. I know we talked about it. He probably would have been second or even first.
He'd be close to first.
I think he might have gotten first without the labor struggle and if he didn't go to Europe.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Got to go with my boy Brian Troutier.
Yes, sir. Where is he? There he is.
I'll take the other 19. I'll take Steve Eichmann.
Yes, sir.
Good one.
692. That's a lot of goals.
Probably one of the fastest skaters ever, Mike Gartner.
That's a good one.
Nice one. That's a really good one.
I'll go a little obscure for you since you know.
Hold on, I can't find Mike. Hold on. There he is.
All right.
Go ahead.
I'll go Peter Bondra.
Nice.
Yes. We have to get him in every week, right or wrong.
Yes.
It was close. 503.
Yeah.
I know. I knew he just came around for 500. I remember that.
Okay. I'm gonna go with. I think this guy just got 500. Lenny McDonald.
Oh my God, he's the last one on the list.
Yep.
Well,
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna go with Brendan Shanahan.
Of course.
Not my favorite Whaler either.
There he is. Yeah.
Besides Kevin Dineen, any Whaler that you liked?
Ray Ferraro, Pat Verbeek, Dave Babbage, Dave Tippett,
Okay, yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Jeff Sanderson.
Oh wait. Well, they're all wrong. I win.
No, it's your turn, you idiot.
All right. Dave Andrechuk.
Yes.
Nice. I will take Maurice Richard.
Of course.
Good one. I mentioned him last week. I got to mention him again. Gilbert Perreault.
Yes.
He's on every list.
He is.
How about Marcel Dion?
Absolutely. I like that one.
I know you did. I did for you. That was for you, Barton.
Yeah, he's
We're on the same team.
Yeah. Tony Esposito.
No, you lost.
You lost.
You said the wrong Esposito.
And then
You
Phil.
said you lost. It was
And then
Phil.
the bitch.
Wrong Esposito. That's a fantasy team name. The wrong Esposito.
You mentioned a whole roster of freaking Whalers.
You said Tony Esposito. No, it wasn't even. Don't even start that shit. I won.
I mean, I can't. You said the wrong name. I'm
You
sorry.
said the wrong name. You lost.
You're right. All right.
I mean,
Wow.
Ron Hextall scored more goals than he did.
Wow, Noel. All right, so you two
Wow.
face up again next week.
Oh wow.
No, you
Anyway.
two. I'm the.
Oh, no, that's right. We face off. That's right. You're hosting. Okay. See, I seriously thought I was going to name them all.
Here's the one I thought you guys would maybe miss is Joey Mullen.
Oh, I was ready for him.
Okay.
I had him. I had Pierre Turgeon ready to go. I had Keith Kachuk ready to go.
Oh, nice. Jeremy Roenick.
I did not have Tony Esposito. I love it.
All right.
I'm so happy.
I'm sure you had at least 500 saves.
That counts. 500 something. Okay.
Yes. All right. Noel, you want to get us out here since you just completely choked on live stream? I mean, there's dozens of people watching right now.
Dozens of people. So we saving the heartbreaks for another
Oh, no,
week?
we'll do heartbreaks real quick and then we'll say goodbye. Yeah, I like that.
So since this is a heartbreak for mine, okay, no. Who wants to go first?
You go first since you just completed that. This is probably up there for you.
Okay, so we got three of them, right? So should I just do all three? We'll each do all three at a time? We'll do that
I
way?
had one
You had one?
because nothing can top. Nothing will ever top. Yeah, I'll fake it. It's fine. I'm good.
Okay, great. So I'll do my number 3 first, and I'll have to go with the 1998 AFC Championship game, the Jets and Broncos. A team, Finney Testaverde rescued that team. I really thought Jets were going to go to Super Bowl. They're up 10-0 in the third quarter. They just blocked the punt. They got a touchdown. They missed the field goal. They had a wind-blown onside kick, basically. Fumbles, interceptions. Terrell Davis ran rampant in the fourth quarter. Fortunately, the Broncos win their second straight Super Bowl. Really thought Jets are going to beat the Falcons that year. That one hurt. And, there's plenty of heartbreaks with the Jets, but that one was my worst one right there. So that's my number 3, guys.
Michael, what's your number 3?
My number 3 would probably be the Tuck Rule game.
Yeah,
Raiders fan, and that game was just it. It changed the rules in the NFL, and basically, there's no real story behind it. I was just heartbroken. I just could not believe that rule stood and that the Raiders lost that game to the Patriots. And in the snow, everything about it was stacked against the Raiders. They're a West Coast team, and they came into Foxborough and played, and then they just fucking took it to him. And sorry.
Fine.
Fine. Yeah. They fucking took it to him. And then the Tuck Rule happened, and it was just that's my worst, probably my worst football memory, because the Raiders have been so irrelevant for so long.
Yeah, it's a tough one. For number 3 for me, we'll stay with football here. I had plenty to choose from. I have to be when the Eagles, they lost many NFC championship games, but the one where they let the Buccaneers come into the last game at Veterans Stadium, 20-degree weather, the Buccaneers never win in cold weather, and I swear Donovan McNabb had money on the Buccaneers, because that's the only way his fat ass could justify losing that game. So that by far was probably I had a hate-love relationship with McNabb, but that was by far the worst. I think that game made my eyes vomit. I didn't make it to the end of the game.
That was a game, right? Real well scoring, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I secretly was a Bucks fan as a kid because I loved their uniforms so much.
Oh, they're fantastic. The orange.
Buckaroos and all that. And I don't remember if you'll remember, but the Bucks were terrible for so long. But there was one season they started the season at Philadelphia and beat you guys 21-0.
Mm-hmm.
Game 1. You remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, we're on our way. And they ended up going 12-14 or 2-14 or whatever it was. But that was a tough game because the Bucks had never won a game under, like you said, 58 degrees or whatever it was. So
yep.
Yeah. Being a fan, it's amazing that I've seen the Saints, the Buccaneers, and the Cardinals all in the Super Bowl, and 2 of the 3 won. I've yet to see my team in the Super Bowl. That's amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah. All right. So my number 2, I'm wearing the shirt, so it's a trade. My favorite player besides Don Malley growing up was Jay Buhner. So 13-year-old going to summer camp in Pennsylvania, gets the news that he gets traded to Seattle. It's folklore right now. It's Seinfeld. It's everything. I was crying because my favorite Yankee was getting traded.
You're 33 years old and you're crying.
It's like over 30.
Be nice.
Yeah, and basically, every time he came back to the Yankees, he would kill them. He would always do damage.
Oh, yeah.
He had a home run. I think second year back that hit the ambulance. It was like the longest home run.
Yeah, I remember that.
At that point, he hit one in the black when hitting home run in the old Yankee Stadium black was something big. And when I was working at MLB Network, we used to do the draft. And the very first draft there, they always had 2 representatives from each team. So I saw the list beforehand, and Jay Buhner was the Mariners one. So I got so giddy like I was a schoolgirl. But where I was on the second floor, and where the studio was in the Jackie Robinson, the Robinson Stadium. You know that Studios 42 was where the draft was. So it was locked. Basically, you had to have like CIA credentials to get in there, and I was lowly guy upstairs. So I waited until after the draft to basically stalk him. Unfortunately, could not find him. I walk out to my car, all dejected, and I turn around. I see him kind of walk past. He headed to the cafeteria there to say, "Hey, cafe." I'm like, "Oh shit!" I ran back I left my phone in the car.
Oh
God.
But whatever. I had a conversation with him. We spoke for a couple minutes. Could not be any nicer. So I have that memory. But when he got traded, it was like the biggest heartbreak of my life. And still, this is a little stat for you guys. Since being traded, he has hit the most home runs of any ex-Yankee.
Wow.
So
you followed him wherever he went.
Yeah. 307 home runs after he left the Yankees.
Wow.
Only 3 with the Yankees, and I know exactly what days and when he had them. So that's my number 2.
Wow. I love it. Rob, that was a bullshit game. Raiders won. I totally agree. Michelle, hi guys. Hi, Michelle.
Hey, we know she's in England watching us, so go to sleep. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, it's not that late. No, England, it's like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
They're 8 hours ahead. It's not that bad. Thanks for watching,
Michelle.
My second one is a football, not NFL, but European football. 1982 World Cup, France, Germany. How can I describe this? Basically, scores tied 1-1 at the end of regulation. They go into extra time. We lead 3-1 in extra time, and Germany ends up tying it in the last 12 minutes of the game. We go to penalty kicks, and we lose to Germany in penalty kicks. We arguably had the best center field in the world at the time. And earlier in the game, Harald Schumacher, who was the German goalkeeper, came out and hip checked Battiston, who was one of our defensemen, who had a breakaway for a defenseman. Is weird in soccer, but knocked him out cold. There was not a foul. There was not a card. So that game, to me, I was 14. I cried that whole night, and to this day, if I think about it, it still literally brings this knot in my stomach that I cannot get rid of. 1986, the next World Cup, we lose to Germany 2-0 in the semifinal, but it was totally different because Germany was better. Even though we beat Italy 2-0 in the round of 16, we beat Brazil in the quarters on penalty kicks, and then we were going to face Germany, and everyone was like, okay, France, this time you're going to beat Germany. And I was like, France just doesn't beat Germany, man.
Yeah, clearly. Not just in football, and other things too.
So, but that 82 semifinal was, it still gives me. How about yours? Let's move on.
Mine's gonna be quick because I don't want to talk about it. The 04 American League Championship Series, the Yankees and Red Sox. I don't remember anything after Game 3. Okay, no, what's yours?
Before I get to mine, the funny thing about that series, Game 4, obviously Yankees were, ninth inning, 1 out away from going to the World Series. Dan and I were working that we were going to head to wherever.
That's right.
Yeah,
we worked on that World Series.
Yeah, that was before my son Zach was born. My wife Jody was very pregnant. We were in Lamaze for game 4, so I that was before we actually could watch the game on the phone. So I would run out every 3 minutes to call my mom. What's going on? What's going on? My wife got so pissed. I'm like, Lamaze, whatever we do now is not going to matter because when you're in the in the room, I'm going to be irrelevant. It's a waste of time. The Yankees are going to go to the World Series again. I need to know. We get home. They blew it. I think Paul Quantrill at in the whatever inning it was, but they ended up losing. Whatever. Okay, so my number one, it's a Yankee one, but it's not that one or 2001. This one hurts. It's Game 5 of the 1995 Division Series against Seattle Mariners.
Yeah,
Jay Buhner was the one time I didn't root for Jay Buhner. They had that's what was a little weird because the team that didn't have home field advantage hosted the first 2 games back then.
Right.
And then 3 games from the team with the home field advantage. So the Yankees won the first 2.
Not cool, Michelle.
They couldn't quite close it out, but they had the lead in Game 5. David Cohen pitched a gem of a game. He just basically threw his arm off. Then they put Jack McDowell in extra innings because they didn't put Mariano Rivera in there. Buck Showalter, I guess they didn't trust him. Really didn't know what he had there. The whole Yankee dynasty could have changed right there had they put Mariano Rivera there. Buck would have got hired, was a different another contract, and it would have been different. There would have been no Joe Torre, probably. And seeing that video of Kevin Griffey Jr. running down, the bases, sliding with Jim Laird's catching, it still hurts. I know they won 4 out of the 5 next World Series. I know they lost in a walk-off in 2001. That's the first time I saw the Yankees in the playoffs. They got washed out, obviously, with the lockout in 1994 where the Yankees were in first place. So that one still hurts to this day.
And the fact that, like you said, had that not happened, you might have not had that incredible run between.
Right.
Doesn't ease the pain.
No, exactly. They may have won, another round and lost, and they could have, re-signed Showalter.
But the way it happened is.
The way that happened. But obviously, great things happened in the following, few years. So.
Right.
Yeah. All right, Dan. We all know you're number one.
No, Michael, what's your number one?
Okay, Michael, sorry.
1993 Stanley Cup Finals, Kings, Canadians. It was, yeah, first time the Kings had ever obviously made it to the finals. We took care of Calgary in round 1, took care of Vancouver in the second round. That epic series against Toronto in when Gretzky scores the hat trick in Toronto, and then going up 4-1 in game 1 and being up 2-1 with 3 or 4 minutes left in game 2, and then the McSorley stick incident. They tie it. They win in overtime. They win 3 games in overtime in that series, and it wasn't. It was just. It's my worst memory. It was. There was never like a dagger in the heart moment because once they were up 3-1, I really didn't have much hope.
Right.
But yeah, that's to this day the most down I've ever been about a sporting event.
You had 5. I just looked it up. You had 5 Hall of Famers on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
and you lost to Patrick Waugh, basically.
I mean, no, that team was insane. We had Gretzky and Robitaille and Curry and Mike Donnelly and Pat Conacher and Tony Granato and Thomas Sandstrom and Charlie Huddy. It was ridiculous. Yep. Zhitnik, I think, was no
Kelly
Rudy.
I mean, and Kelly Rudy was at the top of his game. Who was the backup? Oh God, what's his name?
Well,
anyway, it doesn't matter. No, I'll get it.
I got it.
I won't.
Rob Stauber.
Damn it. Anyway, that's my worst.
Yeah.
My number 1, if you guys know me, is pretty easy. It didn't happen on the ice or on any field or anything like that. It would be 1996, the Hartford Whalers moving up, closing up shop and moving to Carolina. By far the worst thing that's ever happened to me. And I feel for whenever a team moves, I go back to that feeling. The last game I went to, I was just finished my freshman year of college. I just never forget going to the last game at the mall, and then a couple weeks later them leaving, and they choked in glorious fashion to miss the playoffs. Of course, I remember the last game. I didn't go to the last game. I didn't want to. I went like a week ahead of time and kind of had my own thing, and I didn't watch the last game either. I never have. And I never wore my Whaler jersey again either. I have a Jeff Sanderson jersey. I eventually got it signed and it's framed, but I never wore that jersey again. So I actually didn't like the sport for a couple of years too. It wasn't until the Sound Tigers moved to Bridgeport that I was like, I gotta like hockey again. It's my favorite sport. Maybe I'll like the Islanders. Stupid decision, but hey, here we are 20 years later. I should not be trusted to choose teams. But by far the worst thing that's happened to me, sports-wise. And I just, when someone jokes about a team moving, it's like, dude, I've been there. It sucks.
Yeah, I get that. That must be horrible. Like I was a casual Rams fan when they moved to St. Louis.
Right.
And it only pissed me off. And I was like, I'm cutting ties with them. Half my Rams fan friends stayed with them, and the other half said no. But I didn't have that deep, passionate, emotional connection to the team like you did. So I can understand that. Like if the Kings moved to, Quebec City, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm not watching hockey for a while, and I'm not playing
center ice. I couldn't follow them if I wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, I might sort of root for the guys that were still on that I liked as players, but that team is dead in my eyes. So I get it. That's tough.
Yeah, I think if the Islanders had moved, I think I'd still root for them because they did everything to get a new arena back when. But things happen. But guys, this was fantastic.
Guys, I'm not sure if you're. Michelle's asking Dan how Arsenal's doing.
You had to read that, didn't you? You had to read that.
Yeah. All right.
Not good.
Yeah. Sweet dreams, Michelle. Have a good night.
How about real quick? Black Lives Matter on the back of the jerseys is pretty amazing.
Powerful.
Yes.
Powerful, and it's Europe. It's not here. It's global, which is needed and wonderful. So props to them.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Definitely keep it up. Keep it up.
Thanks everyone for coming out tonight and watching us. Make sure you subscribe, please. Please subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next week, right, Noel?
Yeah, and I'll try to get Tony Esposito on the show next week.
We'll do goalie question next week, and I'll say Phil Esposito.
Oh no, don't do goalie questions because I'm terrible.
Yeah, I'll work it. I'll get my team on, and I'll somehow have to get you the belt, Dan.
Nice. Yeah, get me the belt. I'll come get it. I'm not that far away from you. I'll come get it.
I dropped the belt to you. I need a rematch eventually. Okay.
All right. If Barton ever wins, we're gonna have to overnight it to him.
Yeah, exactly.
It's never gonna happen, so don't worry about it.
Oh yeah. All right, guys.
For you guys who have typed in, thanks for following, and hopefully we'll see you next week.
Yeah, we'll see you next week, guys. Thank you.
All right. Good night. Take care.